Hi everyone, sorry for those technical difficulties. Hopefully you can hear me now. My name is Miranda and welcome to VSAC's Facebook Live event. Tonight we will complete the Vermont Grant application and the VSAC Unified Scholarship application, which allows students to apply for VSAC-assisted scholarships. Both of those applications are available through a student's MyVSAC account, and we will show you how to register for the MyVSAC account as well. So just a couple of things about the Vermont Grant and VSAC-assisted scholarships before we get started. Oh, and also, we will be answering questions live throughout the event, so feel free to comment away in the comment section, and we will answer as quickly as possible. So the Vermont Grant is a need-based grant available to Vermont residents who are enrolled full or part-time in a program that leads to a degree or certificate that's been approved by the U.S. Department of Education for federal financial aid. The average grant recipient this past year received a little over $2,000 in the Vermont Grant, and it's a quick and easy application. It's gift aid, meaning it does not need to be repaid, so it's definitely worth it to take the time to complete the application. In addition to the Vermont Grant, VSAC assists with over 100 different scholarships, and all of those scholarships are listed in our Scholarships for Vermonters booklet, which is available online as well as in all of the school counseling offices at high schools throughout the state. As I mentioned, we assist with over 100 different scholarships, and students only need to complete the Unified Scholarship application once to apply for as many of the scholarships that we assist with as they think they might be eligible for. So again, the application's quick and easy. Students usually find a couple of scholarships that they're eligible for in the booklet, so it's worth it to take the time to do so. So both of these applications, they are student applications, which means the student needs to create a MyVSAC account to be able to complete the applications. Parents, for the Vermont Grant and the Unified Scholarship application, you do not need a MyVSAC account. So to do that, students will visit www.vsac.org, which is the homepage you see here, and then look for the MyVSAC button in the upper right-hand corner. That button will bring you to the MyVSAC dashboard. And here's where, if the student had worked with VSAC before and they already had a username, MyVSAC username and password, they would just enter it in the login section, click login, and they would continue on their way. But our student tonight, Susie, has not worked with VSAC before. She does not have a MyVSAC username, so we are going to register for one. So we'll click register now. And this brings her to some information that she needs to complete. When a student creates a MyVSAC username, the student is actually creating an account at VSAC. So it's very important that the information that she enters in here is accurate. So she'll enter her first and last name, and then she'll enter her email address. This email address becomes her MyVSAC username. So it should be an email address that is valid, but also one that she'll have access to for a while, so we recommend not using a high school email address. And we just ask that she enters it 2 times so that she confirms that she entered it correctly. And then the next piece is her social security number. So to create an account at VSAC, we need the student's social security number. And again, we want to make sure that it's accurate, so maybe pull out the student's social security card or double check your tax returns to make sure that you are entering the correct number. And we ask that you enter that twice as well, just for verification. And once she enters her social security number, she will enter her birthday. So that, along with her social security number and her first name, will create the account at VSAC. When she's done that, she's just going to scan over the page, make sure it's all accurate, and then click register. There's 2 steps to create a username and password. This step just created her MyVSAC username, but as you noticed, she hasn't created a password yet. So we'll get a message that says you're not quite done. What she needs to do now is to go to her Gmail account and look for a link from email from VSAC that will contain a link where she can create her password. So there you'll see she has an email with the subject line, "Your My VSAC registration," and she'll click that link. And she's brought to the page where she can create her password. So a couple of things with the password requirements. It needs to be at least 8 digits. It needs to contain 1 uppercase letter and 1 lowercase letter and a number. It can contain special characters, but it does not need to. And it cannot contain any part of your username. So something else I should have mentioned at the beginning, this presentation and event will be recorded and available for you to watch later. So don't worry if you're not quite keeping up with our speed. You'll be able to go back and check it again and follow along. So we've created her password. She does need to create a security question. Just in the chance that she forgets her password, she'll be able to self-help back on the My VSAC dashboard and request that. So with this secret question, we are going to choose what is your favorite color. And the only requirements along with the security question is that it has to be more than 3 digits. So her favorite color cannot be red. So she's going to choose blue. And then she's going to click Enter Credentials. She's going to try really hard to remember her password. You'll notice this pop-up box. Some browsers try to be helpful and say, do you want to save your password? Which, if you only have 1 person going to school in your family, that's fine. But be careful if you have a couple of students going to school. With the way things get saved and the way that you log in, sometimes you think you're entering one password and it's really the other one because the browser saved it. So you may not want to choose that option here. So we're all set with our My VSAC username and password. We've got the correct message and we're going to click Proceed to log in. So we're now logged in to My VSAC or no, we're not. We will go ahead and log in with the username we just created. Over here on the right, just in case she had already forgotten, or in the future if she does, she has I forgot my username and I forgot my password. Both options where she'll be able to answer some questions and be provided with that information. She can always call us here at VSAC as well. When you log in for the first time to My VSAC, you receive some terms and conditions, which is basically you agreeing to work with VSAC electronically, receive electronic communication from us, be able to access your information online. So you'll scroll through this, reading it, and then at the bottom you have the accept or decline. So she's going to accept those terms and conditions. And now she'll be brought to her My VSAC dashboard. So My VSAC is a one-stop shop where eventually she'll be able to access her grant information, her scholarship information, as well as her loan information if she chooses to apply for loans through VSAC. So we are going to start with the Vermont Grant application. So she's going to click Work with Grants. And she'll see a list of applications that she can complete. Susie is going to be enrolling in college next fall, so the fall of 2020. So she's going to complete the 2020-2021 Vermont Grant application. So she'll click that link. So as I mentioned, when we created the My VSAC username and password, that created an account at VSAC, and that information that she provided is pulled right into this first page of the application. So she wants to double check this information. If it did not say Susie, say it said Tom, who's her brother, she would want to log out, click exit without submitting, log out of My VSAC, log back in with her My VSAC username and password, because we don't want to get social security numbers mixed up or applications mixed up. So she knows this is everything that she just entered and this is all her information. So she's going to click Save and Continue. And then the next 2 pages are instructions. So it tells her, wait, are you sure you want to complete this application? And it's for next year. So because we have a couple of applications going for each year, we just want to double check and have the students stop and think about what year they're going to school and make sure they're completing the application for the correct year. She is, so she's going to click Save and Continue. And then this is just a little bit more information for her about, what's considered full-time or part-time, a little bit of eligibility requirements for the Vermont Grant, all of which are listed on our website. And again, when the student comes in here, feel free to take your time to read through all of the eligibility requirements. So she's going to click Save and Continue. And now this first section is basically just her demographic information. So how can VSAC contact her if we need to? So it's her mailing address, or her gender first, and then mailing address. VSAC does communicate with students mainly through email, but if there's a task or something we need and we haven't received a response to the couple of emails that we've sent, then we will mail out a paper letter. When she gets to email address, it's helpful if this is the same email address that she created for My VSAC. It doesn't need to be, but again, because we are communicating with students through email most of the time, it should be an email address that the student has access to and will have access to for a while. One of the requirements for the Vermont Grant is that you are a Vermont resident, so we will answer yes to this next question, and then click Save and Continue. So we do ask how long the student has been a Vermont resident, and she's been a Vermont resident since birth. And then her county of legal residence is Chittenden County, and that's mainly used for research purposes. So click Save and Continue. If at any point you need to leave the application, you can exit without submitting. It's a pretty short application, so you shouldn't need to, but just in case if you did, if you clicked exit without submitting and then came back to it at a different time, you will be brought back to the beginning of the application, but you can click Save and Continue. You should see the information that you entered up until the point that you last clicked Save and Continue. So you can pretty much pick up where you left off. So she graduated from Winooski High School. Way down at the bottom. There we go. One more. And so again, the high school is mainly asked for research purposes. When we get to the Unified Scholarship application, it has a little bit more importance, and we'll get to that. The Vermont Grant is prorated based on a student's enrollment, so if she's enrolled full-time or part-time, she's going to be enrolled full-time. And then this is going to her first year of college. Now, if you notice there's some question marks next to each of the questions, if you click those, there's a little bit more information to help you answer the question. So this next one is, next school year, will she be enrolled in an early college program? Early college is where students can complete their senior year of high school and their first year of college all at the same time. It does have an impact on the Vermont Grant, but they are still eligible to apply for the Vermont Grant, so we just ask the question on the application. She is not enrolled in that program. And that's it for this page. These next questions may look familiar to you if you've completed the free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA. They are used to determine whether it's only the student's information that we will continue to ask for on the grant application, or if we will ask for some parent information. Susie is going to answer no to all of these questions, so we will provide parent information. There's 2 pages of these questions, so she'll click Save and Continue, and then continue to answer no. So because she answered no, this next page is going to prompt her at the top. You'll see it says the following questions should be answered about your custodial parents. So if you've already done the FAFSA, you may be familiar with the term custodial or whose information goes on the application. If parents are divorced and not remarried, the parents information that goes on the application is the parent that the student lived with most during the past 12 months. If the student lived with both parents equally, then it's the parent who provided the most financial support during the past 12 months. So if you've already done the FAFSA, it's the same parent who went on the FAFSA. If you haven't, then just think about that guidance when you're determining it, in the case where parents are divorced, whose information goes on the FAFSA or on the Vermont Grant application. If parents are married, then it's their joint information. If they're remarried, same thing, it's the parent and the step-parent's information. So we do gather most of the information that we need to determine Vermont Grant eligibility from the FAFSA. So all of the income information, even some asset information, comes directly from the FAFSA. So that helps us keep our application short. So the only things that we ask for are home value in debt, farm value in debt, and business value in debt. So, and again, each of these little question marks, if you were to click them, would give you a little bit more definition or what we're looking for when asking for this information. So for example, home value, she's going to enter her parents' home value is $150,000. And when you're thinking about home value, it's what you think you could sell your home for, or your parents could sell your home for. Sometimes tax assessed value is accurate, other times it is not. So if you think about homes in the area that have sold recently, compare your home to those and then assign a value to that. Home debt is the mortgage that is owed on the home. It can include a second mortgage as well. So we'll enter $100,000. And then the next two questions are about farm value and farm debt. Susie's family does not own a farm, but here, if it is a family farm if it was a family farm that was owned and operated by the parents, they would enter the value here. Sometimes it's difficult to separate the home value from the farm value. So there, if you think about the home, your house, and the land that your house is on, compared to the total value of everything, and then break it down from there. Worst case, if that's even a little challenging, we usually say 80% is the farm, 20% is the home. But she does not have one, so she's going to do 0 and 0. And for business, if you've done the FAFSA, you may remember that it did ask for business equity on the FAFSA, and as business equity if it was had over 100 employees. We ignore the information that comes through on the FAFSA about business value in debt and just ask for it all business value in debt, even if it's 1 or 2 employees on the grant application. So they do have a small business. They're going to enter $50,000 here. And $25,000 in debt. And the debt associated with the business can be like inventory or equipment, anything that they have not quite paid off that's related to that business. And then that's it. That's it for the application questions. Susie needs to read through the certification and then click yes, and that is her signature on this application. She doesn't need a PIN number or anything like that. She'll click save and continue. And then if parents are married, at least one parent needs to sign the application. If the parents are divorced, it's a parent who's ever home value, farm value, and business value in debt. The student just entered, they need to sign the application. So, and read the terms and conditions. And just by clicking accept and entering the parent's first and last name and social security number, that counts as the parent's signature. So what comes next? We're not quite done. We'll scroll to the bottom. Parents can provide an email address if they want to. We won't tonight, but that allows us, if we do need to contact the parents directly, we can reach out to you. And that's it. So we'll click Save and Continue. This is the summary page. So this summarizes everything that Susie just entered into her application. So she wants to read through it carefully. Again, double check the social security number, her birthday, the spelling of her name. And she can scroll right through all of the information, double check the assets. And if she did find a mistake, she can click on the page numbers at the bottom and go back to that page to be able to fix that, and then continue to save and continue back through the rest of the pages to get back to this summary page. It's all accurate, so she's going to click. One other thing, you do have the option, and this is really the only time that you're given the option, to print the application. So you can click here for a printable version, print it and save it for your records. You will be able to see this information later on in the students' Work with Grants, their online account, so it's not lost and you'll be able to see what you entered, but if you like to have a paper copy, you can. She's going to click Submit. And now she gets a What's Next page, so you're not done until you see this page. So if you get to that summary page and you think, oh, looks like all of my information, just remember to scroll down, click Submit. Just gives the student a little bit more information that your application is submitted. Complete the FAFSA if you haven't yet. And then tells the student to watch their email, because that's how we're going to communicate with Susie if we need any more information. It could be we might need a copy of her parents' tax return. We might have a question about the assets that were reported. If we do, once we have the student's FAFSA and grant application, we'll send out an email to her to let her know, to check her account and see if there's any information. Otherwise, she won't hear from us until about mid-April 2020 when we determine Vermont Grant eligibility. And then we'll send her out a notice letting her know to check her account for her Vermont Grant award amount. It also gives a little bit of information about the Vermont Advantage Loan, or a link to learn more about our Vermont Advantage Loan in case once she has all of her financial aid information, if she needs any additional funding. It's definitely worth researching early. So she's going to click that she's read that information. And then typically she would be brought back to right into her Vermont Grant account. Doesn't look like it's doing that tonight for her, but what she would see is a to-do list, basically, that lists out what tasks she needs to do. So she hasn't done the FAFSA yet, so on her to-do list it would say, you need to complete your FAFSA. And once she does, as long as she listed her state of legal residence as Vermont, VSAC will receive that information once it's processed. So that's it for the Vermont Grant. We will click out of here and return back to my VSAC dashboard. So Vermont Grant application, check, it's done. Now she's going to complete the VSAC Unified Scholarship application, and that is under Work with VSAC Assisted Scholarships. So this brings her to a little bit different view for the scholarships versus the grants, and we do have a couple of years going for scholarships as well, so we just let you know that she's again going to complete the 2020-2021 Unified Scholarship application, and the link for that is right over here. She'll click on that. And just like with the Vermont Grant application, the first page of the Unified Scholarship application is pre-filled for her. Again, she's going to double check, make sure it's her and it's her social security number. If it's not, she's going to exit out and log back in. But this is, so she's going to click Save and Continue. This first page lets her, is a little bit of instructions of what she should have already done by the time she's in here. So as I mentioned, all the scholarships are in our Scholarships for Vermonters booklet that we assist with. There's also a link to the booklet right up there. So if she hadn't done that yet, she can go link out to the booklet, view it online in a PDF. And determine which scholarships she thinks she might be eligible for. All the scholarships are in the booklet by alphabetical order, and then each scholarship has with it different eligibility criteria, and the highest level criteria are in a black bar at the top, so it's kind of a quick glance for her, but we do recommend that students read through all of the descriptions and let the students do it. We as parents, we think we know what the students' interests are or what skills they have, but it's definitely worth it for the student to read through as well and pick out the scholarships that they want to apply for. So tonight, Susie has found 2 scholarships that she's going to apply for. One is a Green Up Day scholarship, and one is the Don Vickers scholarship. So you'll see where we put those in a little bit later. Each of the scholarships have a scholarship ID, and when she went through the booklet, she made note of what that scholarship ID was so that she can use it in a little bit. So she's going to click Save and Continue. And again, we just need her contact information so we know how to contact her. So her mailing address again. And it really should be, if any place that we will be able to contact the student, and a good phone number that we could contact the student at as well. Anywhere where we might be able to leave a message if we had any questions. And then her email address, same thing, if she could use her My VSAC email address, just in some email that is valid and that she has access to. As you go through the scholarship booklet, you'll notice that there's specific eligibility requirements for each of the scholarships, as I mentioned. Some are available just to female students, some are based on whether you're married or not. Most of them you have to be a Vermont resident, so all of these questions are just gathering that information. So when the student applies, for the scholarship, we can determine whether or not they're eligible. So that's it for this page. She'll click Save and Continue. And then we need to know how long she's lived in Vermont. Some of the scholarships are also specific to the town that the student lives in. So again, she'll select Winooski. Vermont does have a number of villages. So if you're looking for a village, not realizing you're looking for a village, check for the town name. It's a little unusual that way, so just kind of keep scrolling through, see, you should be able to find your town, and then how long you've lived there. She's lived there since birth. Click Save and Continue. She does need to be a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen to apply for VSAC scholarships, and there's all of the information here to determine how to determine that if there's any questions. And then we'll find the high school that she graduated from, which is Winooski. And there are scholarships specific to certain high schools. So again, another reason why we're asking for that. And then we need to know that she's a high school student. There's some scholarships that are specific just to high school students, or if she's already graduated, and there's some scholarships that are only available to college students. She has not graduated yet, but she will be. And she'll click Save and Continue. And then here she will select the program that she's going to pursue. She's going to pursue her bachelor's degree. There are some scholarships available just to graduate students, some if you're working on your associate's degree. And that's it for this page. Here's where she will list what college she's thinking about attending. Now, most students in this stage have a couple of schools that you're looking at, so think about the scholarships that you're applying for and the eligibility requirements for those. So there are a handful of scholarships that require you to attend a Vermont college. So if you're thinking about attending one of those, or applying for one of those scholarships, list the Vermont college here. Then you can always change it later on, but at least for this initial view, and as we're determining who the finalists may be for the scholarships, you are sure you're meeting the eligibility criteria for that specific scholarship. Otherwise, think about your top choice school and list it here. You can always change it later, even after you've submitted the application, even after you've been if you're eligible for the scholarship after you've been awarded. So don't worry too much about that. So she's thinking she's going to list a Vermont school here. So she'll choose her state first, which is Vermont. So she'll have to scroll to the bottom. And by selecting Vermont, that then pre-populates this drop-down with the colleges in Vermont. So she'll click the drop-down, and you'll notice Vermont's here, Utah's up above. So if she happened to scroll, you'll get lost in the states. So scroll down from Vermont to find Champlain College. If you can't find it, worst case, you can click Can't Find School. You'll be prompted on the next page to enter your school. And then she expects to graduate in 4 years. And she has not received an associate's degree from any college yet, nor a bachelor's degree, so she'll check no. And in the next drop-down box, she will indicate that she is going to be studying business. The scholarships in the booklet are specific to majors as well. So you'll see we try to cover as many majors in there as we can. If you can't quite find yours, select the closest. You can always contact us. We can help you figure that out as well. And then she'll select her year in college. If you, again, back to the major just for a second, if you're between, you're like, I might want to do business, but I might want to do engineering. Think about the scholarships that you're applying for, and do any require that you're a business major or any require that you're going to be an engineering major, and try to decide from there. She's a first-year student, and she's going to be full-time. And she'll click Save and Continue. So we're getting to the piece where she can select the scholarships that she wants to apply for. There are some scholarships that are not listed in our booklet that students are nominated for, either by the high school or by their outreach counselor working with them in their high school. There's also a scholarship available to members of the Vermont National Guard. It's not listed in the booklet, but students use this application to apply for those once they've been either nominated or they know they want to apply for the National Guard scholarship. So if that was true for Susie, she would click yes to either one of these, but she's going to click no. And then for just these scholarships here, there's some additional information that VSAC needs that we didn't just gather on all of those other questions that we asked you. So if you find that you want to apply for any of those scholarships, just click yes, and you'll be prompted for the additional information that we need. Otherwise, click no, which is what we'll do tonight, and click Save and Continue. So this is where she's going to enter the Green Up Scholarship and the Don Vickers Scholarship. She knows from looking in the scholarship booklet the scholarship IDs. So Green Up is Green Up, and then the Don Vickers is Vickers. She can enter 5 on this screen, and then if she had more that she wanted to apply for, she can click yes, and she'll be prompted with another page that allows her to enter another 5. If she had more than 10 scholarships that she wanted to apply for, I'll show you at the end. There's a form that she can complete one time to add the additional scholarships, and after that, just email us with any other scholarships you might want to apply for. Even if you forgot, if you chose 2 and then you're like, oh, I just found another one that I want to apply for, you can complete the form or email us and we will add it to your application. So she doesn't have any more to add today. Do at least pick one scholarship from here. Try not to continue without adding any, because otherwise, you submitted an application, but you didn't apply for any scholarships. So you definitely want to make sure you enter them here. And then click Save and Continue. And that's it for the Unified Scholarship application, except for the signatures. So again, similar certification. I agree to the above information. This is the student's applications, and there's no parental information, so only the student has to agree. She'll click Save and Continue. Same summary page, type of summary page. So she'll scroll through and make sure that all of the information is accurate. Social Security number, high school, major, and the scholarships that she selected are the ones that she wanted to apply for. And then she can print this page if she chooses to. Again, you will have the option to, within the next business day, within 24 hours, after noon the next business day, you will be able to see the information that you provided on your scholarship application. So if you do submit the application on, say, Friday night, you won't be able to see that information until noon Monday. But otherwise, it'll be afternoon the very next day. And so she's reviewed her information. She's going to click Submit. And once she sees this page, she knows that she successfully submitted her application. It's the first step, is completing the Unified Scholarship application. All of the scholarships that VSAC assists with require at least an essay and usually at least one recommendation letter, so she does still have some work to do. Each of the scholarships ask for different, may ask for different essays, may ask for different recommendation letters, but you only need to complete or send to VSAC or upload to VSAC one copy of each. We'll make sure that all of the scholarship committees that you are applying to get copies of each of those. So we'll share them, but you only have to complete it once, so it saves you from having to write or have multiple recommendation letters written. So double check the booklet to see what required documents you need to submit next. If you have some ready, you can click Continue, and you'll see underneath the Submit Unified Scholarship application a button for Upload Scholarship Documents. So if you were to click that, you'll be brought to a page where you can find the documents on your computer and upload them directly to VSAC. So there's a little bit of instructions here. The most important thing is to make sure that when you're choosing your document type from this drop-down, that you are selecting what you are actually uploading to VSAC. So if you clicked Essay 1 General, but you uploaded to VSAC a recommendation letter that you happen to have saved, it's going to load as Essay 1, and that recommendation letter will be incomplete or missing, and your application will not be complete. So just make sure that what you think you're uploading is what you are actually uploading. So you'll select your document type, and then you can click Browse, and you'll browse your computer to find the document that you want to upload. And in this case, we're going to choose Test Upload, click Open. And if you scroll just a little bit, you'll be able to see, the Submit button. Once it's submitted, you'll see two messages, one up here that it was successful, but you'll also be able to see over here what was uploaded and how it was uploaded. So if you know Test Upload was actually your recommendation letter, you'll see it was uploaded as an Essay 1 here, and then you could re-upload it as the recommendation letter and then let VSAC know that that was mistakenly uploaded. As you continue to upload more documents, this list will grow. And she's done for today. That was the only thing she wanted to upload. She's going to click Close Window. There's a little bit more information in here. It's also information that's in the booklet, whether online or the paper form. Here's a link to the booklet. There's a timeline, frequently asked questions, and then down below a little bit more information on recommendation letters and essays. But that's it for tonight. She's completed the Vermont Grant application, the Unified Scholarship application. She needs to go do the FAFSA, so she's going to go do that. And if you have any questions about what you heard tonight, email us at grants, grants, @vsac.org or scholarships@vsac.org, and we'd be happy to help you. Other than that, have a great night. Thanks for joining us.